What's wrong? Are you okay? I went to my son and daughter-in-law's house to check on my 3-year-old granddaughter. What I saw there was my granddaughter chained in the room. Moreover, she was exhausted and her consciousness was dim. What's going on? When I immediately called 911, they arrived in less than 5 minutes. However, the police officer said,
"We are arresting you."
And I was handcuffed. There must be some mistake. I'm the one who called. Even though I appealed, they didn't listen to me and I was taken away in a patrol car. But after that, I turned the tables with a certain opportunity. And I decided to take revenge on the person who made my granddaughter go through such a terrible experience. My name is Ella, and I am 63 years old. My husband passed away 3 years ago, and I have been living alone. My son Logan married his wife Charlotte 5 years ago and lives an hour away by car from my house. About half a year ago, Logan started living alone, and since then I haven't seen my granddaughter Victoria. Wondering how she was doing, I contacted Charlotte on SNS, and I got a reply the next day.
Victoria wants to see you, won't you come over?
I was meeting a friend near Logan and Charlotte's house, so I replied, "I'll drop by in about an hour," and bought a gift for Victoria with excitement. However, when I arrived at Logan and Charlotte's house at the promised time and pressed the intercom, there was no response. I found it strange, but when I put my hand on the doorknob, it was not locked. "Charlotte, are you not here?" "I'm coming in." When I entered the room with hesitation, there was my granddaughter Victoria, chained. "Victoria! Victoria! What's wrong? Are you okay?" I was shocked and rushed over to her, but Victoria was exhausted and her consciousness was dim. Moreover, she was considerably thinner than before, and there were multiple bruises on her skin visible from her ragged clothes. This is serious. I have to call the police. I immediately dialed 911 and arranged for an ambulance at the same time. To my surprise, the police arrived in less than 5 minutes. As I was surprised at the speed.
"We are arresting you."
I was told, and for some reason, I was arrested. Wait a minute. There must be some mistake. I'm the one who called. However, the police officer said that he had received a call from someone else 10 minutes ago saying, "There is an elderly woman doing terrible things to a small child." Who would do such a thing? As I was about to be put in the patrol car without understanding why, I saw Charlotte hiding in the shadow of a telephone pole, watching us. And when the ambulance arrived, she rushed out in a panic.
Victoria. What happened?
"Oh, Charlotte. Can't you prove that I'm innocent?"
This is no joke. Officer, this woman is the one who did such a terrible thing to Victoria.
What are you talking about? There's no way I could do such a thing when I live apart. While glaring at me with a stern look, Charlotte started saying that she had been hospitalized due to poor health and had left Victoria in my care during that time. Charlotte invited me to her house. What on earth is going on? Dumbfounded, I was led to the patrol car, and the ambulance carrying Victoria and Charlotte drove off first. After that, I was put in a drab room at the police station and questioned. Everything my son's wife said was a lie. I don't even know why I was treated as a criminal. Since I had an exchange with Charlotte on SNS, I asked them to check the screen of my smartphone. However, all her replies had disappeared. It seemed that Charlotte had deleted the messages she had sent to me. Was it Charlotte who harmed Victoria and called the police? Such a thought crossed my mind, but I kept my mouth shut because it's not good to speak based on speculation without proof. For now, I showed the receipt for the gift I bought for Victoria and continued to plead my innocence. But the police didn't believe me. After that, I was released due to insufficient evidence and went home and called Logan.
Mom, what's up all of a sudden?
Oh, I was just wondering how you were doing. I miss Victoria because I can't see her.
Oh, Victoria is full of energy. I get reports from Charlotte every day.
I was confused because Logan didn't sound like he was lying, but if I hung up the phone now, I wouldn't be able to protect Victoria in the future. I hurriedly searched for the next words. Oh, I heard that Charlotte is sick and hospitalized?
I don't think so. She didn't even seem to have a cold.
Logan was hesitant to talk about Charlotte for some reason. I had a hunch that he was hiding something, and when I asked him if something had happened, he sighed deeply after a moment of silence.
I can't hide it from you. We're actually getting divorced.
What? Why?
It's what they call a personality clash. We've been fighting since I started living alone.
I was surprised at the unexpected answer, and when I heard that Charlotte would have custody of Victoria after the divorce, I couldn't help but raise my voice. That's not acceptable. Absolutely not.
I understand that it's sad to feel like you're losing your granddaughter, but it's best for a child to live with their mother.
That's not it. Please listen to my story. Then I took a deep breath and told Logan everything that happened today. When I told him that I was treated as a criminal and taken to the police station, he was very surprised.
What's going on?
He muttered. Logan seemed to know nothing at all. So, I thought it might be better to share the thoughts that crossed my mind. I'm so worried about Victoria. I don't want to think this way, but I can't help but suspect that Charlotte might be abusing her.
Which hospital was Victoria taken to?
I was told by the paramedics. I think I'll go and see for myself. While I was talking to Logan, I became restless, and as soon as I hung up the phone, I jumped into my car. An hour later, I arrived at the hospital. I put on a large mask so that my face wouldn't be recognized, and while blending in with the patients waiting for their appointments, I looked around for Victoria and Charlotte. I wonder where Victoria is. What should I do? Although I had come this far, I couldn't do anything, so I decided to go out to the backyard to get some fresh air. Then I heard a familiar voice. There were Charlotte and a doctor, talking quite intimately.
It's funny how the police were completely fooled by me. I was the one who chained Victoria and didn't feed her. They think my mother-in-law is the culprit, so she won't be able to get out of the detention center for a while.
I had suspected it, but hearing again that Charlotte had called the police, I felt like everything was going dark in front of me. And then, when a certain plan came out of her mouth, my anger reached its peak.
Not today. To avoid suspicion, please carry it out in 2 or 3 days.
The look on Charlotte's face as she said this was colder than I had ever seen before, and I felt as if my spine was freezing. However, hearing their conversation gave me a clue to the meaning of Charlotte's inexplicable behavior. I don't have time to think slowly. I resolved to protect Victoria even at the cost of my own life, and I started preparing in a hurry. The next day, I was waiting in the backyard where Charlotte was having a secret meeting with the doctor. From their conversation the day before, they always met here when they had something to talk about. As I hid behind a large tree, they came as expected.
It's impossible for Victoria to regain consciousness. If things continue like this, it will be revealed that I weakened her. Take action before she recovers.
Charlotte, in her excitement, was shouting dangerous things, while gently stroking her shoulder.
Leave it to me.
The man nodded.
If it goes well, I'll give you half of Victoria's life insurance money. Make sure to stop her breathing. After the mother-in-law goes to prison, I'll also share the property.
Charlotte, who said this with a disgusted look on her face, was unbearable. I lost my temper. Can you tell me more about what you just said?
What? Ella. Why are you here?
I was released due to insufficient evidence. That's too bad. Charlotte looked awkward, but she soon approached me as if nothing had happened.
I'm glad. I was worried.
What are you talking about? You're the one who reported it to the police.
There's no way.
Before Charlotte could finish her sentence, I played back the data I had recorded of their conversation the day before on my smartphone. In the video, their entire plot was revealed. Upon hearing this, the color drained from Charlotte's face. You guys are devils. Not only did you make Victoria suffer, but you also tried to frame me and take my property after sending me to prison. In fact, the doctor who was conspiring with her was Charlotte's ex-boyfriend. When I sent a picture of the two to Logan, he told me that he had seen the man's face. How much debt did your doctor boyfriend make from gambling?
Why do you know such a thing?
This is also something I heard from Logan, but the reason why Charlotte and her boyfriend broke up during their relationship was due to gambling debts. I was sure that he was repeating the same thing, so I set a trap, and it seems to have worked perfectly.
I borrowed $80,000 from a consumer finance company. Oh. If you want to help Victoria, could you pay off the debt instead?
You really are. If that's the case, let's talk in Victoria's hospital room. With Charlotte and the doctor, who nodded in agreement, I headed to the hospital room where Victoria was. Finally reunited with Victoria, who was lying in bed, I ran to her in joy. Victoria. Victoria. It's Grandma. Do you understand?
Yes. Grandma. I was scared.
My poor granddaughter, who grabbed me with her small hand and hugged me, must have been terrified. It's okay now. I'll protect you no matter what. As I gently held her and stroked her head, there was a click. When I turned around, Charlotte had locked the door to the hospital room.
Oh my, what a touching scene. Maybe I should join in. But it's just kidding.
Just as I thought Charlotte was approaching with a smirk, she swiftly took my smartphone from my hand and smashed it on the floor. Furthermore, she took out the SD card inside and broke it in half.
Evidence destruction complete. Ella, this is it. It's sad to say goodbye, but you'll have to go to your husband's place.
What did you say?
It's more profitable to take all of my mother-in-law's property than to take over the debt.
Charlotte held me down, and the doctor pulled out a syringe from his pocket with a lewd smile. Yes, this was the terrifying plan I had heard about in the hospital backyard.
It was right to prepare. Let's do the old lady before the child.
As he said this and the man approached me, that's when it happened.
Get your hands off my mother.
When Logan, who had been hiding under the bed, came out with a smartphone in one hand, his wife and the doctor were surprised.
Why are you here?
I got a call from my mother. I heard everything.
You deliberately called us to this hospital room.
Charlotte glared at me with disgust. By the way, you smashed the SD card, but I have another one in stock. Oh, yes. The current exchange is also being recorded on my son's smartphone. Logan stood in front of the two of us to prevent them from harming me and Victoria. Charlotte, though pale, still seemed unwilling to give up.
Now, please take care of all three of us. Come on. Don't just stand there.
Pushed by Charlotte, the doctor approached Logan with a cold sweat. Then,
"What's wrong?"
a woman's voice was heard. Actually, I had secretly pressed the nurse call, so the nurse responded. "It's an emergency. Please bring the key to this room and come with the security guard. If we don't, we will be killed.
What?
The nurse raised her voice. She seemed to have forgotten to cut off the nurse call, and her voice was leaking somewhere. The doctor, who was in a hurry, tried to leave the ward, but his knees were shaking and he couldn't walk well. Please come and help us quickly. When I raised my voice further, the security guard and the nurse entered the ward all at once with a clattering sound. When I briefly explained the situation, the security guard restrained Charlotte and the doctor. That doctor tried to attack me with the syringe in his pocket. Please check the contents. The doctor, who had been confiscated by the security guard for a suspicious liquid-filled syringe, said,
I'm not bad. I was seduced by this woman.
He tried to escape the crime. Let's have the police judge who is bad, because there is a video of evidence.
Charlotte, we didn't need to talk. I'm divorcing you. I'll raise Victoria.
Wait. Don't abandon me. I'll break up with my ex-boyfriend, so forgive me.
She clung to Logan with tears, but he shook off her hand. Then she apologized to me.
Ella, please spare me the police. I will never do this again.
It's better to eat terrible food. You should feel a little bit of Victoria's pain, who was tied with a chain and was hungry. Look, your pickup has arrived. When I looked outside the ward, the patrol car called by the nurse had arrived. I handed over the SD card with the video as evidence and the data of Logan's smartphone to the police, and the downcast wife and doctor were taken away as if they were dragged. After that, Charlotte and the doctor were sentenced to prison for conspiring to kill my granddaughter and for putting me in danger by making me a criminal. My son Logan divorced Charlotte and took custody of Victoria. And he claimed $30,000 for mental distress to his daughter Victoria and for consolation of infidelity. Of course, he also claimed the same amount from the doctor. My granddaughter Victoria was taken care of by me for a while. Victoria is completely healthy and is running around the garden happily. Logan's single assignment is about to end, so I'm looking forward to living with my son and granddaughter.
How was this story? Please also subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.